Hello, learners. Welcome back to 10 Minute Study. Today's topic is the structure of the heart, especially explained for O-level and grade 8 students. In this class, you will learn the main parts of the heart, the four chambers of the heart, the major blood vessels connected to it, and also how blood moves through the heart. Don't worry, we will break everything down in a very simple and easy way. So by the end of this video, the heart will make perfect sense to you. First, let's start with the location and size of the heart inside the human body. The heart has four chambers. Blood is pumped between the following four chambers: right atrium, right ventricle, left atrium, left ventricle. Deoxygenated blood from the body enters the right atrium. Deoxygenated blood means a blood which contains low amount of oxygen. When the deoxygenated blood enters to the right atrium, then the right atrium contracts. The right atrium contracts and the blood passes into the right ventricle, which again contracts to pump blood to the lungs to get oxygenated. The blood is sent to the lungs because the lungs contain oxygen, so it makes the blood oxygenated. The oxygenated blood returns to the heart to the left atrium. Oxygenated blood from the lungs enters to the left atrium. Then the oxygenated blood enters from the left atrium into the left ventricle. Then it pumps blood to the aorta. Just make sure that aorta pumps blood to all parts of the body which needs oxygenated blood. Okay, so this is one of the question that is repeated in every year almost. So why is the left ventricle thicker than the right ventricle? You can see here in this diagram that left ventricle is thicker than the right ventricle because left ventricle has to pump blood to the aorta, and your aorta pumps blood to all parts of the body which needs really high amount of pressure because blood is pumped to all parts of the body. Whereas in case of right ventricle, we can see that right ventricle pumps blood to the pulmonary artery, and pulmonary artery pumps blood to the lungs, which is less distance from the heart. So the pulmonary artery does not need that much pressure to pump blood to the lungs. That's why left ventricle has thicker wall than the right ventricle because the walls of the left ventricle need to withstand high amount of pressure. If you were given question like this in your exam, then make sure to write in this way. The left ventricle needs to pump the blood to the aorta, which pumps blood to all parts of the body at a very high pressure. So the walls of the ventricle needs to withstand the high pressure. That's why the wall of the left ventricle is thicker than the right ventricle. I hope this makes sense to you. This is 3 marks question overall. Let's move on to the diagram. This is a diagram of the heart. This is a label diagram. In your exam, you are maybe asked to label the diagram of a heart. So make sure you know all the structures. This is a vena cava. The deoxygenated blood enters to the right atrium. This is called tricuspid valve. This is called bicuspid valve. In the later part of this video, you will know that what is valves. Then this is aorta. This is pulmonary artery, which passes the blood to the lungs, and this is the aorta, which passes blood to all parts of the body. This is the left atrium, and this is the left ventricle. The heart is divided into 4 sections: right atrium, right ventricle, left ventricle, and the middle part of the heart is called septum. Let's move on to the next part. Valves. So what is valve? Valves are of 2 types: atrioventricular valves, semilunar valves. In the previous part, we have seen that there are valves, this whitish part. Okay, the valve has mainly one function. It restricts the backflow of the blood. The valve that is present between the right atrium and the right ventricle is called tricuspid valve. And this valve helps in a way that When the right atrium contracts, the blood passes to the right ventricle and slowly the pressure inside the right ventricle increases. When the pressure is high inside the right ventricle and the blood starts to fill up the right ventricle, then the valve closes because it prevents the backflow of the blood into the atria. Valves are of two types: atrioventricular valves, semilunar valves. What are semilunar valves? Semilunar valves are aortic valve, pulmonary valve. Atrioventricular valves prevent backflow of the blood into the atria. And these are called atrioventricular valve. Tricuspid valve and bicuspid valve prevent the backflow of blood into the atria when the right ventricle or the left ventricle is in high pressure. Semilunar valves prevents backflow of blood into the ventricles. These are called semilunar valves. These prevent the backflow of the blood into the ventricles because when the pulmonary artery is in high pressure and they are about to pump blood to the lungs, or the aorta is about to pump blood to all parts of the body, when aorta and pulmonary artery is in high pressure, the valve gate closes because it prevents the backflow of blood into the ventricles. There are mainly two types of semilunar valve. One is pulmonary valve, one is aortic valve. Pulmonary valve is located between the right ventricle and the pulmonary artery. It prevents the backflow of blood from the pulmonary artery to the ventricle. In the exam, you will be asked a question like this: that what is the function of pulmonary valve or what is the function of aortic valve? Write the answer in this way: that the valve is located between the right ventricle and the pulmonary artery and it prevents the backflow of blood from the pulmonary artery to the ventricle. Same goes to this question. Aortic valve is located between the left ventricle and the aorta. It prevents the backflow of the blood from the aorta to the right ventricle. Here I have given a table where it shows that pulmonary artery, pulmonary vein and aorta functions and which type of blood they contain. Here we can see that pulmonary artery contains deoxygenated blood. The deoxygenated blood enters from the right atrium and then it goes to the lungs to get oxygenated. And what is the information? The information is the pulmonary artery carries deoxygenated blood to the lungs to get oxygenated. What is the work of a pulmonary vein? Pulmonary vein contains oxygenated blood. This is a type of vein which contains blood that is returned from the lungs. So it contains oxygenated blood. The blood comes from the lungs and it enters to the left atrium. It carries blood back to the heart and it also carries oxygenated blood back to the heart from the lungs. What is the work of the aorta? Aorta contains oxygenated blood. And I am repeating this again and again, that aorta contains blood that is pumped to all parts of the body. As we know that our parts of the body need oxygenated blood, so aorta contains oxygenated blood. Make sure you learn those points because those points are very important for your exam, especially I'm saying this to O-level candidates. Let's move on to the next part of the video. So here I am giving this diagram, this label diagram, where you can see that how the blood enters and from which way. This is a simple type of heart diagram which will help you to understand the structures of the heart easily. So this is vena cava. From here, the deoxygenated blood enters to the right atrium. Then these are the valves. Valves prevent the backflow of the blood from the right ventricle to the right atrium. These are tricuspid valve and this is bicuspid valve. And this is pulmonary valve and this is aortic valve. When the deoxygenated blood comes from the vena cava to the right atrium, the right atrium gets high in pressure and the blood starts to fill up the right atrium. The right atrium then contracts and passes the blood to the right ventricle. When the right ventricle gets high in blood and the pressure inside the right ventricle increases, the tricuspid valve closes because it prevents the backflow of the blood to the right atrium. When the right ventricle gets high in pressure, then the blood passes to the pulmonary artery. Just make sure that the right ventricle contains deoxygenated blood. When the right ventricle pumps the blood to the pulmonary artery and the pulmonary artery gets high in pressure, and when all the blood enters to the pulmonary artery, the pulmonary valve or the semilunar valve closes because it prevents the backflow of the blood to the right ventricle. Then the pulmonary artery pumps the blood to the lungs to get oxygenated. Then the blood returns to the heart via pulmonary vein. What is the work of the artery and what is the work of the vein? Artery helps to move the blood away from the heart, and the veins help to make the blood close to the heart or towards the heart. The pulmonary vein contains oxygenated blood which is returned from the lungs. Then the oxygenated blood enters to the left atrium. The left atrium gets filled up with blood and the pressure inside the left atrium increases. Then the bicuspid valve gets open. When the valves get open, the blood enters to the left ventricle. The pressure inside the left ventricle increases. The blood starts to fill up in the left ventricle and make sure that the blood is oxygenated blood. Then the blood moves to the aorta. Aorta passes the blood to move all parts of the body. And aorta contains aortic valve. This aortic valve is located between the aorta and the left ventricle because this valve helps the blood to prevent the backflow of the blood into the left ventricle. There is one more part, septum. This is the septum which divides the both sides of the heart. Okay, so here is a question. Here is a set answer of the question, how blood is pumped through the heart. Deoxygenated blood from the body enters the right atrium through the vena cava. The atria contract, pushing the deoxygenated blood to the right ventricle. The ventricle contract, AV valve closes, pushing the deoxygenated blood through the pulmonary artery to the lungs to be oxygenated. The oxygenated blood from the lungs enters the left atrium through the pulmonary vein. The atria contract, pushing the oxygenated blood to the left ventricle. The ventricles contract, AV valve closes, pushing the oxygenated blood through the aorta to the rest of the body to supply respiratory cells with oxygen. And that's the structure of the human heart. Understanding the structure of the human heart makes it much easier to understand how blood circulates in the body, which is a very important concept for your exam. Before you go, here is a quick question for you. Which chamber of the heart has the thickest wall and why? Write your answer in the comments below. And if these lessons help you understand the topic better, don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends and subscribe to the channel for more quick and easy science lessons. Until then, keep learning and keep growing with 10 minutes study. Thank you.